Doc, paano po ba gawin yung self-care na yan? Nakikita ko po sa mga posts ninyo, you always talk about self-care, taking care of our well-being. Paano po ginagawa yan, Doc? Ito nakikita natin to sa mga comment sections ng mga videos natin on wellness. Ito po si Dr. Iris, isang Filipino-Canadian medical doctor nakabase dito sa Vancouver, Canada. Kahit nandito po ako, tumutulong tayo sa mga kababayan natin anywhere in the world sa pamamagitan ng ating mga broadcasts, ng ating mga libreng Zoom meets, and sa pamamagitan ng ating mga workshops on mental health, mindset expansion, even yung pagle-level up po sa pangkabuhayan, level up abundance through our skill set trainings, mga business opportunities, lahat matatagpuan sa levelupwithdriris.com. Kailangan lang mag-register, pakibasa yung email para makita yung mga information about these free resources. So balik tayo dito sa concept of self-care. Paano nga ba ginagawa yan? Paano mo malalaman that you are caring for yourself? So in a nutshell po, self-care is really doing things that feed on your wellness, that optimize your wellness, your well-being. Isa ito sa mga napakahalagang components ng resilience. So resilience, pagiging matatag, mahihirapan po tayo maging matatag sa mga moments na marami tayong pinagdadaanan, challenging situations, kung hindi po natin gagawin yung tinatawag na self-care. You can only run for so long if empty yung inyo pong fuel. So when you do self-care, you are topping up on your fuel, yung inyong reserve, para tayo magpatuloy sa ating paglalakbay sa buhay na kahit hindi perpekto ang buhay, kahit maraming challenges, we can continue po sa journey natin. It's important to distinguish self-care from escapism. So escapism, ito yung may ginagawa tayo mga bagay-bagay na nakakatulong sa atin para maiwasan yung mga ating nararamdaman na mga discomfort, yung mga pains natin sa buhay, yung mga struggles natin. So you're trying to escape. Ang pagkakaiba nito with properly doing self-care is walang awareness po. When you're merely escaping, let's say for example, meron kayong pinagdadaan ng challenge and instead of really acknowledging na merong challenge, ginagawa natin mag-escape tayo through maybe online shopping, through gaming, video gaming po, through gambling, through substance addiction. Pag ginagawa natin yan, what's happening is we're not really addressing yung pinaka-problema. So, the things that we are doing do not feed on well-being. So, yung katulad po niyan, so gambling or doing substances, yes, those maneuvers are helping you to numb the pain, but they're not really feeding on your well-being. So in that way, magkaiba po yan sa totoong self-care wherein you do things that actually enhance yung inyong wellness. Nakakadagdag po sa pagpapabuti ng inyong overall living condition. Another thing that should be acknowledged is maraming tao rin are in denial. So maraming iba, they just deny na they are overwhelmed, that they are overburdened. And so yung denial na ito allows them to somehow escape din, which is also not a good thing. Kasi when you are denying na medyo running on empty ka na, what will happen is you will tend to go to escapism. While kung you are acknowledging, you are completely aware na, teka muna, I'm running on low bat na ako, then you can do strategies that will really feed doon sa iyong well-being. So to do proper self-care, it's important to look at the 5 different aspects of life. So meron tayong physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and meron din tayong financial. So the things that we will do that will improve yung mga 5 estado na yon, contribute to our sense of well-being, contribute to our sense of wellness. And in this way po, ito yung mga bagay-bagay that can really feed into yung self-care natin. So for example, in terms of our physical wellness, instead of turning to emotional eating every time we're faced with a challenging situation, we can choose to actually eat foods that will nourish us po. Mga pagkain that will help optimize our well-being. So in that way, yung emotional eating, kung saan kakain ka ng junk food, that is not helping you to optimize your wellness. Pero when you're choosing to eat food that will nourish you, yun ang mag-feed sa iyong wellness and well-being. And in that way, that's a proper way to address self-care. Same thing po with addictions. So whenever we are faced with stressful situations, some of us will turn to substances po to forget, or to numb the pain or to have momentary relief, we can channel that into, for example, exercising or fasting. Itong mga strategies na ito will feed directly into optimizing yung ating well-being and will be effective strategies for self-care compared doon sa tayo turning to substances lamang. Now, when it comes to emotional wellness, how do you care for yourself when it comes to emotional well-being? Well, dito pumapasok yung konsepto about building relationships, building connections po with the people that matter to you. So in this way, if you do that, that will feed directly to your sense of well-being, to your sense of emotional wellness, emotional regulation. And speaking of that, emotional control is again another thing that you can do for yourself. You can acquire skill set that will help you to regulate your emotions, and in that way, that will feed into your self-care regimen din. Because when everything is well on the inside, ito po ay magmamanifest din on the outside. So when we care for our emotional well-being, when we practice emotional regulation, we acquire the skill set that help us to regulate our emotions, then ito po ay isang mabisang pamamaraan kung paano din natin inaalagaan yung ating sarili, because it will help us to have more stability sa ating buhay in general. And marami po tayong mga free training workshops about this. So emotional regulation, stress management, anger management. Mga libreng workshops po yan. So check out our resource at levelupwithdriris.com. In terms of mental well-being naman po, how do we practice self-care in terms of this aspect? Well, ito po yung tinatawag nating mindset expansion. So mindset expansion is when you allow yourself to nurture yung tinatawag na growth mindset, wherein you are open to the possibilities of expansion, of growing, rather than having itong fixed mindset na hindi nakakatulong yan sa ating improvement. Hindi yan mag-feed sa ating self-care. Again, marami tayong mga libreng trainings for mindset expansion. Check out lang po ang ating mga resources. Finally, spiritual wellness po. So spiritual wellness is all about having a sense of purpose, contribution, practicing the universal truths of kindness and compassion. Ito yung mga bagay-bagay that will feed into our self-care. Ito yung mga bagay-bagay that will optimize our spiritual well-being regardless of religion po. And finally, the fifth aspect, level up in the financial aspect din. Kailangan din po ito kasi of course when you're always stressing out about your finances, this is not going to do you any good. Laging tataas ang stress hormone mo. So if you focus on the things that will help you also to expand financially, mag-level up ka rin sa abundance na aspect ng buhay mo, then that will contribute to optimizing yung iyong self-care regimen din. So all these things, all these 5 different aspects have to be taken into account when we want to practice itong concept ng self-care. Tatandaan na the more that we care for ourselves, so self-care is not selfish. The more that you care for yourself, the more that you can actually be of service, the more that you can give to others, the more that you can connect with others, you can empathize with others. You have much more to give kung ang sarili po ninyong cup ay nag-uumapaw. So self-care is not selfish. And I highly encourage all of you po to truly optimize wellness sa buhay natin, to truly have harmony. We do need to practice self-care holistically. Kung kailangan po ako makausap, join sa mga Zoom meets ko, lalo na sa mental health, yung mga upskills natin, yung ating mga workshops and training programs that will help mindset expansion, emotional well-being, lahat po yan matatagpuan sa ating resource. Check out lang po, levelupwithdriris.com. We have a very supportive community. Join lang po sa mga various communities din natin. I'm always wishing you holistic wellness. Level up po tayo lagi.